announcement. Upstairs in guest panel room number 1 is the Nicholas Brendon panel. If you're a fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, you can't miss this one. It's an open Q&A. You'll be able to ask him any questions. Nicholas has lots of great stories from the acting world. I've heard a couple over the weekend. So go ahead and pick his brain about Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It's starting right now. Guest panel room number 1.
All right. Okay, go. I hope people come.
Most of us, is there anyone in here who cannot sing all the lyrics to the music?
I don't know. I don't think I can.
The apple pie at Burger King. My fiance got me the apple pie at Burger King and said, "I'm sorry, there's no ritual sacrifice to go in your pie." So we have all this stuff in our head, but how much of this, what do I want to call it? It's not mythos, but how much of this do you find yourself hold on to remember? I mean, I don't remember programs I wrote 10 years ago.
Yeah, I mean,
How much do you have to remember to be with the fans?
There are, Xander had so many amazing one-liners. So people will actually kind of come up to me and they'll like stay the line. I mean, there are some really, really funny lines. The one that because this is the one where when it was Buffy versus Dracula, and so I was reading the script, and then I got so cool that I got Renfield, but I laughed out loud when when I was Renfield, like, oh, this one outplays the master. and then I forgot. Then it was like the dark whatever, the dark one, Vader. And I'm like, that's so funny, So but. Like there's certain lines like that. I mean, there's so many one-liners, but I remember like the line that I based my whole character off of was, let's say, episode 2 or 3, but it was I laughed in the face of danger. Yeah. So to me, that was just I'm like, all right, cool. And written so well. I mean, that's just like that's who he was. But like I'll go through old scripts and I'm like, oh my god. I was just blessed with a lot of really, really great lines.
I'm tired of being everybody's butt.
Well, the guy that gets the funny syphilis. And it was just kind of, Xander was essentially Joss. So, and was written as such. So I think Joss
was... Have you read The Quotable Slayer? There's a small paperback that has all the best lines.
Yeah, I gotta read it.
Yeah. One of my favorites is one of Spike's lines. I may be love's bitch, but at least I'm man enough to admit it.
Yeah. I mean, there's just really some great stuff, There's really, really wonderful lines. Yeah, so. But I think, essentially, kind of, it's nice to hear lines that I've said. I'm like, oh. Yes!
Are you dating anyone?
Are you filming me? Are you filming me? Yes, I am.
Okay, that's not my real question. Who was your favorite person to work with on the set, and who was your least favorite person? Like, who's the hardest person to work with?
I mean, I'll just go character-wise. My favorite, I love the dynamic between Spike and Xander a lot, especially when he was tied up in my basement. And then I think least would just be Angel, because there was nothing, like Xander just hated Angel so much that it wasn't even fun. Like he would brew it, I'd be like, so it's kind of, not a lot of chemistry between those two characters, but yeah. Because I won't talk about people, I'll just talk about characters. Yes?
How hard was it to do Hush?
It was harder than I thought, because like normally it's like, we do our, like we're finished shooting and then, your day's not done, then I gotta drive home and then I gotta look at my scenes for the next day too. So with that, I'm like, oh cool, there's no dialogue. But then it was actually a lot harder, So it actually forced me to read I usually don't read the stage direction. It's just like, my lines, but it forced me to read that, so.
One of my favorite Xander lines is sometimes I think about Willow and Tara doing a spell and then I go back and do a spell by myself. My question
is, doing a spell.
How many people,
right now?
How often are you requested to do the Snoopy dance?
Pretty much every time I do a panel, I finish it with the Snoopy dance.
get asked, but do you have a favorite episode yourself overall?
Did you want to ask that
Was
question?
that your question? Ask now.
He's got my gasket.
How do you get the other eight?
Please.
Oh, so that was, so people think it's like, so there was an episode where I was split into two. And so Kelly, I have a twin brother. So whenever we were on the screen at the same time, then there was the two of us. But I mean, I played both parts. I just had to change my clothes and my hair a lot. So yeah, that was a lot of work. And they didn't pay me double either. They should have, but they didn't. So.
But you gotta keep the coin, right?
Of course, yeah. So then I, of course, lost. My favorite episode is probably Once More the Feeling.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't, I mean, to me, that's a standalone, so I'll do probably Hush, just because it was fucking terrifying. I remember watching them rehearse, like, the gentlemen were all kind of in their regalia, and, they were on, just like, they were on the rig, and you were just hearing it, and it was like, this is gonna be terrifying. Like, if it's terrifying now and they're rehearsing, it's like when they get rid of that sound, and it was just like, I'm like, this is a very, very, very effective creature for that. And then just the, cutting your heart out, you can't just like, wow.
Yeah, that's kind of what mine was. Once More was Killing Hush, and then Nightmare. Those were my
Yeah,
favorite.
that was fun too. That was the one where, is that where I did the Apocalypse Now?
Yeah,
I was talking
yeah.
to Principal Schneider, and I'm like, can I get up now? My knees hurt. Yeah. Yeah. And then there's cheese involved. Yeah. People were asking us, like, so what does that mean? He's like, nothing. It's a dream.
I really like what you said about the line that kind of gave you your
Oh, yeah.
more into, I mean, you were better for many years. Like, do you feel like you got more like you, or you like?
Well, I mean, writers will hang out, especially with TV. They'll hang out a lot with the actors down on the set just so that they can get the cadence. So it's definitely, I would say, a 50-50 on that. So that they start to kind of write to the way I speak. It just makes it easier for them and their job. So yeah.
In the show, your character lost his virginity to Faith. I personally didn't really like that decision. I thought I would have been much better off with that Inca mummy girl, or maybe Willow. What are your thoughts?
Have you seen Eliza? It's nothing personal to Inca Mummy, or I mean even Allie for that matter. But no, that was fun. I love that episode. I love that. I mean, because that was where Xander, and when I finished reading that episode, I actually cried because I felt that Xander was kind of, there are a lot of things where he was just basically kind of a nerd, and I was over that. So,
It was a Zeppo, right?
Yeah, Zeppo.
Yeah.
But when I was done, I was crying because I could totally see how I was going to smile and walk away from Cordelia. But it was so adorable where I'm just kind of, I go to the hardware store and I'm like, and it dawns on me, and wait a minute, they're not baking cake. It's so cute that Xander really thought that he was going to bake a cake with a bunch of dead people. I was like, what should I do? I need Buffy. So, yep.
Did you ever do a lot of improv for your character, like stuff completely off script, and that was stated in the...
No. Joss Whedon, it's word for word. So if you have it's like the perfect, everything's perfect, like the emotions there. He's like, that's great, Brindles. But I put that out there for a reason, Where Criminal Minds, if you're like 60%, we're moving on. I mean, the one thing I did was, I was going to work once, and good God, where's Aaron? Jesus, why do they hate us so much? Maybe they'll make another announcement that I'm doing this right now. So I was driving to work once, and I love falafels. And so there's this place called the Pita Pit on Fairfax, and I was waiting for my falafels, and I just see this fucking schwalk, it's like meat, slowly turning. I'm like, this is gross. So I go into Josh's office and I'm like, hey, what the fuck is a shawarma? I mean, it's like glued together meat. I mean, it's disgusting. You know, it's like, what? Hide it with yogurt? Is that what you're gonna hide it with yogurt? So then Josh put it in teacher's pet when I get it drugged. So I'm like, what's a shawarma anyway, you know? And then, you know, Danny Jr. was talking, I think it was Rolling Stone or something like that. He's like, yeah, you know, Joss and I got together at the end of the Avengers. We thought it needed to be punched up a little bit, so, you know, he and I came up with the shawarma. And I'm like, I didn't. And then Joss did finally, he did go on the record saying, actually, Nikki did come up with that. Yeah, that was mine, so I did write it. And there's one, I think there was a doll episode in season 1, like the puppet that came to life. I think we ended that episode at, I want to say, were we doing like Oedipus? I forgot. But at one point I'm like, hey, so he was on my lap, and I'm like, Rad Rob. So that was me. But essentially, no, there was nothing. You didn't tell Joss, hey, I think my character would do this. I mean, Tony had some pretty good ideas, but he would say, you know, I think the Ripper would do this, and Jess would be great, and it would almost be the opposite. You know what I mean? So I mean, that was a show that they were, you know, and that's why it was a great show. I mean, it's a pretty much consensus top 20 show of all time. I was just in Philadelphia with Holly Marie Combs last week, you know, and she, you know, they were able to direct. She was a producer on the show. You know, got points from the back end. I'm like, all right, that's weird. You know, there was definitely, there was a way to do it. If Josh didn't like it, you're done. I mean, there's a reason why you didn't. For some reason, he just did not like Buffy's dad, which is why he moved to Europe. You know, and I don't know what it was. He's just like, you know, he just didn't like the cut of his jib. So yeah, so it's kind of, yeah. If he didn't like it, you're gonna die, or move to the other side of the world. 100%. Yeah, there's nothing. There's no really collaboration. The guy that actually wrote the Zeppo, he wrote a bunch of other stuff too, but he was doing a podcast, and they brought up the Zeppo, and he's like, I'll talk about the Zeppo job. So, because I think it just became, he didn't write it. It was just, yeah. So he's like, I don't know. So I think, you know, there's a lot. He was very much in control, and had every right to be. Yeah.
Is he as funny as his dialogue? I mean,
Joss is very dry. Yeah, very, very self-deprecating. You know, it's just a very smart guy, but kind of varies. He's always thinking. Yeah. He's really good as well. Yeah. Yes. No, the only thing that was real was really, I think we stopped using it because we basically just built sets. It's easier to shoot. So the outside of the magic shop was outside of where we shot. We made like a little town back there. And then the magic shop itself, I think, was on stage 2. Maybe 3. Don't quote me. It's not, I mean, here's the problem with that, which I found out from James Marsters, is that this couple named Brandon Kazooie own the rights to Buffy. And so they just want too much money to license it. So it's because of them that there hasn't been anything. Because they didn't make enough money on the TV shows. Now that, you know. And then they tried to reboot it with Warner Brothers, and then there was a bunch of backlash because Joss wasn't going to be involved. None of us were, and so people said, "Screw yourselves," and like they scrapped that. So it's essentially just people get greedy. People get greedy, you know. If they pass away at some point, then you know. But I'm not saying anything. Brandon Kazooie. Their address is.
What do you think was like the most heart-wrenching Buffy episode? Like
Probably the body. I mean,
I was thinking like maybe becoming part 2 or Grave.
so anything where somebody really dies, you know, and with a brain aneurysm, and I'm pretty sure that Christine's mom. I'm like a cat on Reddit. Pretty sure Christine's mom actually passed away that night. She's out of an aneurysm. So there were a lot of people. I hadn't really lost anybody, and so there were a lot of people that just the way that Joss wrote it, it was very much he nailed it. And then so when it's, because there was no music in that episode at all. He kind of did like a Hitchcock thing, turned the sound down, and the footsteps were a little bit louder. You know?
Yeah.
But when Shonda Rhimes called me and asked if I wanted to play a rapist for practice, and I'm like, sure, which I wouldn't do again. Brutal. But, so when, on that episode, when it happens, she's like, I'm going to totally steal from Joss. I'm not going to have any music in this episode. So yeah, so it's kind of the, like, there are a lot of showrunners out there that definitely Joss is my favorite.
When you first started, did you have any idea of how big this would become?
You can't. You know, you really can't. And I don't even think we knew it when we were like even on season 6 or 7. You know, because this is one of those things that kind of almost became bigger after we were done. But yeah, I mean, I knew that we had like, you know, once like Entertainment Weekly kind of like, it was like their little secret, you know, and then so people started to kind of pay attention, and then it was always like, it was like Time Magazine, like the best, you know, it was like top 5 shows of the year. So it's kind of, I think we were more kind of in the critical aspect of it and just making a good show. And then it just really kind of just kept going and going. I think Netflix helped a lot. You know, it's on Hulu now, so I think a lot of that. Yeah, but we had no clue. I mean, the first time I was season, maybe end of season 1. I was at a mall in Seattle. I was doing something in Seattle, and all of a sudden, like 17, I think it was like a cheerleader or something. We're in this mall, and all of a sudden, so I'm like, I see them in front of running. I had to like really run, and you know, I played baseball. I literally did a head. Well, I ran into Abercrombie & Fitch, did a head first slide, you know, underneath like the dressing room, and then stood up on the bench and was like, oh, you know. And then when I was in,
Did you laugh in the face of David?
and then, yeah, no, I just fucking ran. And then I was in France, and that was the first time I ever saw myself dubbed. And then so I was in Nice, and same thing. All these girls are running. They go, Alex, because I didn't know that my name was Alex, and they don't have a Xander. And I'm like, oh shit, I think they're talking to me. So there was that type of stuff that happened, but in terms of like the kind of overallness, no. Yeah.
Okay, so 80% of you probably know this answer, but I'm going to ask anyway. The episode where Buffy gets like stoned by a demon and they play like she's actually in a mental hospital.
Yeah.
Was that really supposed to be a touch on maybe the salt was just a little tech, or was it really?
That's up to you.
That's what I kind of wondered, because I still was dead.
Yeah. I don't think you're supposed to know.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
It was really cool how they did it.
I mean, it's not like, you know, the end of St. Elsewhere where it's all in a kid's head.
Yeah.
Which
You get
is-
to the end of it and you're like, what?
Yeah. I don't think you're supposed to know. Yep.
I noticed that when Firefly was canceled, which all things were done, but I noticed that Gina Torres, Nathan Fillion, and Aaron Baldwin all wound up playing Buffy Ranger. And that says to me that Joss was very close to his people.
Yeah, if you're right for the part. So now, in regards to Firefly, season 7, and I got to work in the 80s, like Joss wants to talk to you, and I'm like, shit, you know, what did I do? So I'm in my trailers, you know, it's like, hey, Brendel, so I'm like, what's up, Joss, Bo? Because I just want you to know that I'm writing a TV show for you. It's a Western in outer space, and I want you to play the captain. Because he always kind of saw me as like the Han Solo guy, like a guy who's kind of attractive in comedy. So I was supposed to play Captain Playgrounds. And then it's like 3 months later, Joss is like, well, Fox, because he wanted to, so we were doing it, we knew that we were ending, then Joss wanted to do it that next fall, but then Fox wanted the show earlier. And Joss is like, hey, Brendel, what's up, Joss? Well, anyway, Fox wants the show earlier. Nathan Fillion's not playing the captain, and he's also going to take your eye out. I'm like, Jesus. You know what I mean? It's like, come on.
And also, he was cast in the Buffy before.
Right about the same time. Everything was happening about the same time.
Oh,
Because that was towards the end of, I mean, that was like by 4 episodes before.
Yeah.
And then they were going to shoot that. Yeah. Wow. So it was like 6 months. Had it been 6 months later, then I would have been rejected. And the show would probably still be on it. Deep.
Like disregarding all like the comics and everything that came after, where do you personally would want to see Xander go after the series ends?
It's hard to really say just because I helped to write the comics too, so it's hard for me to kind of get out of where he is right now. I don't know, I mean, either what he's doing or maybe running a brothel.
I can see that.
Like a brothel that also like served amazing broth. The broth ladle. That's pretty good. I'm gonna open that one up. Soup here, whores in the back.
So Buffy touched on some subjects like shows at the time weren't really doing. Was there any idea that was like pitched behind the scenes that the network was wouldn't let the shows?
I mean, not to my knowledge. I mean, there was one. Danny Strong's character. There was the one where he was like up in the, with the gun. But Columbine had just happened, so they did air it eventually, but they definitely kind of put it on ice. I mean, I wasn't really privy to those conversations, so Joss pretty much knew what he was doing, and once we moved to UPN, they didn't have his standards of practices, so he was able to do whatever he wanted. But he knew with the WB that if there was a particular person, like if he needed to say bitch, he put it in 6 times because he needed those 2. Because they'll always say that can't do it. He's like so he put an extra, knowing that they like to make shows less good. Well, I was doing a show called Kitchen Confidential, and we were all doing the table read. It's fairly funny people, It's a Darren Star show. Fucking Bradley Cooper's playing Bourdain. Got John Cho, me, Frank Langella, Jamie King, and we're all pretty good at what we do. And we're doing the table reads, and there are these guys in suits that probably went to law school that are taking jokes away, and we're like, you're lucky you're in here right now. But they're making David Hemmingsley, who wrote it, take jokes, and it's people in suits like to, and they're not creators. That's the thing. If you were creative, it's great. I don't go into your office and say don't do that. So yeah.
Is there anybody?
Oh, hold on real quick. Hold on. No, I just got broken up with. Yeah, no, I'm good.
Anyway, is there anybody from the cast you're particularly close to now, you still hang out with?
I probably Charisma never. But we travel a lot together too. So I'm going to be in Sacramento next week with Charisma and Emma and James. But we've gone. I've gone really all over the world with those girls. So it's kind of. I think those are my 2 faves.
Are you really close to Joss as well? Super close? I saw on your Instagram that you looked up to him. You made up posts.
I love him. Yeah. It was that we had a really special way of working together. He didn't have to really, he called me his Alec Guinness, which is a good thing if you know who Alec Guinness is. But we wouldn't have to talk. He'd be like, Brendan's got it, and then he's like, perfect, Because Joss also doesn't move on until he gets the shot. When we were shooting the musical, and it was me, Tony, and Emma, walking down outside. We shot that in Culver City. We had to be out of there by 4, but there's so many moving pieces, and it was a handheld. It was a Steadicam. I think it was take 17 or 18 we finally got it. But he's like, I'm not going anywhere until I get this shot. And you got Culver PD saying, you're going. He's like, no, I'm not going to leave. And he's just watching it, and you would just kind of see him because we were then done, and then sometimes the mess up would happen at the end, and he's kind of, Joss is kind of seeing it in the monitor, he's kind of doing that. He's like, and then we all started heading back to number 1 again. So, he never settled. But I love him. He taught me a lot. Dude.
Yes. In the episode of Cash, you had the opportunity to play a darker version of Xander.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that process and how it differed from how you would normally approach the character?
He just wasn't funny. He just really wanted, he tried to rape Buffy, which he had to do because obviously you can't have a serious. Well, again, and that's another really good example. Joss hated that principal. So, and he knew that he was going to kill that principal. So those 3 students ate that principal. You can't have a serious regular in killing somebody. So I went off and did that stuff with Buffy. But it's kind of funny, when we were shooting the the slow motion scene, you know, when it's like when there's that whole like reveal, you know, it's kind of cool scene. But they're like action, I'm like, and they're like, thank you, but what? So no, just walk normal. We're just gonna speed it up. Okay. I mean, because I never really acted before, so I didn't know how this shit was done.
Was this really one of your first?
It was essentially my first thing. I mean, I had done like 6 or 7 or 8 commercials. You know, I did a show. It was a PA on a show called Dave's World, and they're like, there was a scene with a college student. They're like, hey Nick, you want you to play the part? So for a week I wasn't a PA. Then I got back, and on Monday, Michael Petop, the producer, said, come into my office. Close the door. So I sit down, he's like, you're being fired as a PA. And I said, everyone here thinks that you should be acting. And at the time, I just didn't, I had taken about 2 years off, and there was a woman who wanted to be my manager, and I'm like, I just don't act. My best friend's mom. So I got fired and called Kathy, my manager, then manager. I said, let's do it. I just got fired. 2 months later, I was Buffy. So. Had they not fired me, I would have still been a PA on the other. I actually did feel like it came down to me and this other guy, because they pretty much tested they went through every actor in LA, and I was like in like the last batch, because I had no credits to my name. So I did a movie called Children of the Corn Part 3. When I say did it, I was an extra and I played basketball in it. But the guy who started it had longer hair. The star of that movie was the guy that I was testing against. And he was first choice. Like I went in, and it's kind of like you can't test, SAG rules, you cannot test someone by themselves. You have to test against somebody else. When I was at Fox that Friday before, there was like 12 Xanders, and then it went down. And I blew that audition. I mean, it was horrible. I was doing like, my voice was, you know, my lips were, it just was horrible. And like the last thing is like, you know, Buffy, you forgot your steak, you know, and I run after her. There are probably like 50, 60 people in this room, and it's like amphitheater seating. I came to learn that the most important people are in the front row, and then as the rows get, you know, they become less important. So I kind of chase after Buffy, and I'm like, I just fucking blew that. So I sit on this guy's lap, the first guy's lap I see, wearing a very, very nice suit. He's got male pattern baldness. I sit on his lap, and I pretend to curl his non-existent hair, and I'm like, hey, do you come here often? And it happened to be the head of Fox Studios. I think that saved me. Because even though, and the note to the WB was, he seemed nervous watching. But so when I went to the WB on that Monday, after having a horrible diarrhea for a whole week, I walked into an office that I'd been at before, and I got very comfortable. And I nailed the audition. They were laughing, they were clapping. I was just in the zone, you know. I closed the door and I walked by his back, and I'm like, I think I just booked a TV show. So it's me and him, we're waiting, and Nicholas, you can go home, we're gonna torture him one more time. And I had jumped him on that audition. But since he was first choice, they gave him the opportunity to do it. That guy from Children of the Corn Part 3. I don't know his name. Just check the movie out. He had longer hair. So I got that phone call about 10 a.m. that Tuesday. Decided to get breakfast. No, here I am.
How long outside of their murder